So I've been building a lot lately. Hello, it's Boss Lady. Are you enjoying your summer? I'm enjoying mine, but it is way too hot. Since it's so hot outside, I'm staying inside mostly and playing some Sims. Del Sol Valley is not my favorite world, but there are a lot of things about it that I like. But I don't like those 3 houses that are celebrity houses that are supposed to be so expensive. They're just kind of strange to me. So I decided to rebuild Chateau Peak. Chateau Peak is a very modern building, as you can see, and I'm not really into modern, and it's called Chateau. So that makes me think of the French countryside and Nectar making that will be coming to The Sims 4 in the next expansion pack that'll be out in just a couple of days. Horse Ranch. And I can't wait. So I built a chateau. Let's take a peek at my chateau. So I looked around on the internet, and this is the photo that I came up with. I wanted to make a house that looked like this. Now, unfortunately, I had some problems with the roof, and it doesn't exactly look like that. But maybe when the new pack comes out, I'll go back in and see if I can make it look better. Anyway, this is the lot, and I spent some time really looking at the lot. I wanted to make sure that I placed the house in the right place. I kind of hate that sometimes we can't line up with the street or whatever, but in this particular case, it seemed to be possible. I think I did an okay job of it. So I wanted the house centered right there where that turnaround is, that cul-de-sac, that walkway. And I knew I wanted it raised a little because I want some steps going up into it. So I just started placing. Now, building from a picture is kind of difficult. You don't have any idea what the inside looks like. So doing the floor plan is kind of hard. And you're just really not sure about the size of things. And The Sims doesn't really have a whole lot of options, even though we do have a lot more lately of those textures for the exterior and the doors and the colors and the window style and that sort of thing. Now we are getting some sort of castle pack later, and I'm really looking forward to that. Who doesn't love castles? And I think that some of the chateau pictures that I saw, the French ones anyway, kind of look like little mini castles. So the picture has this kind of open foyer courtyard thing. So I went ahead and made that the best way that I knew how. And then I created the rest of the shape of the bottom floor and then kind of recreated that on the second floor. But I had to change it later because there in the front, the only part that's 2 stories is kind of the center. The side pieces really aren't. And I kept trying to put a room above where I'm putting these windows right now, and I had to go back and delete it. I really think it looks better with a room up there though. So when I revisit this to finish it, when the pack comes out, I might add a room back. So here I'm trying out the textures. It really kind of, the picture, it looked like painted brick. So I end up settling with this one. And I was really undecided about the pictures. I mean, windows. Sorry. I was undecided about the windows. I kind of think that these wood look ones here with the little grates and the ironwork really looks good. The picture of the house, the windows do have shutters, and it does have this ironwork balcony there in the center above the front door. So even though the windows don't have ironwork on them, I kind of felt like it would be okay since there was ironwork on the building. But the windows in the picture house are black and the shutters are green, and we don't have that available in The Sims. And I wanted to build this without using CC, which I did. So, getting this just exactly to look like the picture is just pretty much impossible. I spent quite a bit of time building this. I would say it took me probably a couple of weeks. Of course, I would stop and come back, but I filmed most of it, and I had to cut out, and it seems like it was about maybe 6 6 or 7 hours of recording time that I actually spent building this. So I could have done it all in one day, but I didn't. I'm really not a fast builder at all. I know what's available because I build quite a bit, so I know what I'm looking for when I start looking for it, but I never can remember what it's called. And I do use Twisted Mexie's Better Built By mod, which is absolutely wonderful, but I still have a hard time finding things, so it kind of takes me a while. And I keep changing my mind, and that takes me a while too. Now here I'm building a study for them. I kind of thought, this French or maybe English or certainly European, and this is really French, countryside home, they're going to have just a paneled wood floor study with a fireplace and bookshelves all the way around. Now I do have the new Book Nook kit, but I don't really care for it, and I mean I do, don't get me wrong, but those modular bookcases, some of them disappear all the time when you're trying to play and you log out and log back in, or leave the lot and come back, and they're not real fancy, they're real plain. And I knew that I wanted fancy bookcases in this study because these people, or whoever lives here, they're wealthy and they wouldn't have those plain bookcases. So that's why I didn't use the Book Nook bookcases here. I'm trying some different curtains. I wanted to find something that looked wealthy, but also fit. I really thought that this room should be kind of lush. Now please don't misunderstand, I don't furnish this entire house. As a matter of fact, I furnish very little of it. But to me, this study was really important to get right. And the only way that I could really decide on the size was to place a rug, place the bookcases, and that would really give me an idea of the size of the room. And here you can see the kitchen. I didn't show you placing all of those cabinets, but they have a good sized kitchen. And then I went with that wood from the study in a lot of the other places. So here I'm working on the second floor. As you can see, adding some bedrooms, adding some bathrooms. I went ahead and gave them double staircases inside the foyer because that's fancy and wealthy. Now you can see a bedroom there on the second, well, you could see a bedroom there on the second floor, right above the study. It has a fireplace and it has a rug in it. And during much of this, that's the bedroom that I end up deleting when I try to redo the roof so many times. And that's the one that I might put back. It's still a pretty good sized house even without that bedroom. We have, I think, 4 bedrooms, and then with that would be 5. So it's definitely not lagging in space. This is looking at the house from the back. The kitchen is in the back behind the study, and so that room there right beside it is going to be a dining room. Lots of windows looking out into the backyard. And off from the kitchen, there is a covered porch patio, kind of sunroom, hothouse, greenhouse, whatever you want to call it, or whatever your Sims want to use it for. Now here I turn my attention to the landscaping. Now to do this, I got all of the palm trees that are available in the game, and I lined the property with palm trees because outside the lot where we can't build, there's a lot of palm trees. They're just lined up there, and so I wanted to continue that line to make it look really cohesive. Now I don't know what palm trees are going to look like with a vineyard, but I think it'll look fine. There's a lot of shrubs there as well on the lot in some nice little, or beside the lot, in the part where we can't build, in kind of some nice little shapes. So I lined the lot also with shrubs. And then I did a little bit of landscaping in the front, and that's pretty much it. Now I did use up much of the backyard building a pool. And I hope that I'm gonna have room to keep that when we get the nectar making and the vineyard growing stuff, so that they'll have room to be a true vineyard and still keep their swimming pool, because after all, they are wealthy. Now here I'm looking at these cypress trees. So that's the other thing, is that street and that sidewalk are lined with those cypress trees, and they make a somewhat of an arc. And I was trying to get the placement right, because I didn't want it to look like there was this empty place, because I couldn't put one there off the lot. And I think I did an okay job of it. And I chose a couple of cypresses that had a little more width to them, so that it wasn't quite so obvious. I want to keep the idea of lining with the cypress without necessarily making it exactly the same, because I couldn't. And now I'm just working on doing a little bit of landscaping right there in the front. Since we're using palms, I thought that that would be a good idea, is to use some different palms. These are royal palms, I believe they're called. And so I thought they might be a good addition. Now let's take a look at what I do in the backyard. Now I had a definite idea of a shape and size of a pool that I wanted, with a pool house and a fountain. And it was kind of hard to build, especially since I could only see it in my mind's eye. So I started with these two little rectangular shapes, and I wanted to join them. I'm not real good at drawing pools. This is probably the most difficult way to do it, but it kind of made sense to me. So I was going for an island. Now I wish we could do curved pools. If we could do curved pools, it definitely would have had some curves. But I was going for kind of an island in the center there, as you can tell. I wanted them to be able to go out in the middle of the pool and relax and get some sun and swim, you know, on either side of the pool. There I was trying to do a fountain, and I wanted it to connect, but it couldn't. So that's not a pool, that last one that I put. It's a fountain, so it's not deep at all. Sims cannot swim in it. But I wanted the whole thing to be roughly the same size, width-wise anyway. I was a little disappointed that they had to have that bit of grass there in the middle, but I think it works out. Now, as you can tell, I'm using up a good portion of this backyard, so I might have to rearrange some things when we get the pack and all of the nectar making stuff, but they've got a lot of space on the side. I think we can make it work. Now this pool is for relaxing, but also for entertaining. I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted it to be something that, you know, isn't just for all of the neighborhood kids to jump in and make a mess in. I wanted it to be, we're inviting over who's who in the neighborhood for a fancy dinner, and we're gonna go out to the pool, maybe take a dip and sip wine and eat our expensive meal around the pool and use it as decoration, as landscaping. That's why they have a fountain. They need some water splashing up and spitting up and lit up so that it looks fancy and not, well, cheap, lowbrow, you know, the neighborhood pool where everybody hangs out. No, this is exclusive. I wanted some stonework around it, but I wanted the coloring to be somewhat seamless, and I was going for this real kind of golden color, and that pink or that yellow gold didn't, I don't know. I went with the pink to get more of a rose gold, and try to get away from the yellow so much. You get a lot of yellow with the sunlight, and so it looks golden already, but I wanted it to have that pink hue, if that makes any sense. Now I'm working on expanding the tile work there so that I can put a pool house. So they need a pool house because they need a place to go when they get out of the pool, but yet they're still wet. They need a place to cook out. They need a place to have a bar, get their next drink, and use the restroom without having to go into the house, because after all, they're wet. You don't want that water in the house. It would damage the floors, those beautiful wood floors. So you stay out at the pool house until you get all cleaned up. Now, I definitely did not have a picture to go off of when I was doing the little pool pavilion. Really, it's not a house. And you're thinking probably, oh my gosh, this is one really long, narrow rectangle. What are you doing? And I was kind of thinking the same. But really, it works out. It really does, I promise. This is one of those, like Little Simsy says, trust the process. Trust my process. It really does work out. Now, remember, I want this open. So I'm trying out some different columns. And then I'm going to get rid of those walls so that it's real open. And I needed to see which columns look fancy but also appropriate and what colors they come in. Now, unfortunately, the pink columns that we have are real pink. I didn't want country. And so many of those are kind of country. Those didn't look right. And I know I'm saying this is French country, but I mean, I don't want that Victorian kind of, or Americana country, I wanted European country. So I need stone. I need stonework and not painted wood. You'll see a lot of woodwork with French country, but it's not painted. Generally, it's stained. So I didn't want those because when you go with a column that's just a big chunk of wood, then you're doing more of that rustic ranch. And this isn't a ranch. This is a chateau. And I wanted, their pool house or pavilion to look almost a little Roman in a sense, I guess, even though this is not an Italian chateau. It's French, but it's European. So I guess you get my point. I don't know. It was just in my head. I don't think it's not like I'm an architecture student, so this certainly isn't official. Now, these rooms that I'm placing here are the bathrooms. You've got to have a good bathroom in your pool house or pool pavilion or whatever you want to call this. These lights are kind of temporary just so I can see what I'm doing. They're going to have a couple of really nice bathrooms, and then a place for lounging, a place for cooking, and a bar. And I save very frequently when I'm building because I've lost things too many times. The Sims is not going to get me. I save all the time. And I hope you do too. I kind of wanted to stick with the same style of window. Not that I used on the house, but that I use on this pavilion style building. And these are very fancy and large, so they'll bring in a lot of light, which is of course very important. Now here's where I start playing with, should I take down the walls? Should I have beams? What should I do? And that's what I decide to do, is just to have beams. And then I'm going to take off the ceiling. I thought about making it a glass ceiling, but I don't know about you guys, but I live in an area where it's really hot. Now I know in San Diego area it's not, but this Del Sol Valley is going to be more like Los Angeles. It gets pretty hot in those places, and sitting under glass isn't always what you want to do. You need to get some breeze, you need to get some airflow. So I decided to go ahead and give them an open roof. Not on the bathroom area, but on all the rest of the area. So using this pool pavilion, you're really only going to want to do this in good weather, when it's not raining. But you can go and sit under there and get a nice breeze, or your Sims can. Drink some of the nectar, eat something that someone has grilled, take a dip in the pool, and get some sun. This part's a little tedious, isn't it? You have to take out each little individual square. Now I know I could have made them bigger, but it wasn't the exact right size to be perfectly symmetrical, and I wanted it to be symmetrical. And quite honestly, I like these pergolas where this Latticework stuff is closer together, because it's a little easier to get a little more shade. And I do give them some overhead lights and ceiling fans, and you've got to have a place to attach those, something to hang them from. So I really didn't mind having all of those tiny squares there for the Latticework. Finish off with the columns all around so that you can see them. And I really think it's coming together with this fancy pool house. And then I thought, gosh, look at this big open space. What if they had a little small basketball area? Basketball in The Sims is really good for getting their athletic skill up, and so many ages can do it. And they've got so much space here. Now that is something that I could take away when I get the horse ranch pack and I start adding the nectar making ability to this lot. Maybe the basketball court will have to go at that point. But I did think that it was a good touch for a rich family in Del Sol Valley to have their own basketball court. There's those beautiful ceiling fans that I added. And now I'm going to start placing the bar, the counters, the grill, the lounge area, all of this outdoor cooking and eating and kitchen and living room type of furniture. So this Desert Luxe patio, I really wanted to use this Desert Luxe kit here, but I did have a little bit of problems. I wish we had some outdoor cabinets and counters that matched the grill and the bar better. I really struggled to find something, but eventually I come up with something and I think I make it work. Now you can't forget about my little island. Gotta have some nice lounge chairs out there so you can go and sit with your nectar and get some sun. You kind of have to walk around a ways to get to it, or simply swim to it. I love this kit. It is one of my favorites. I use it a lot. I use it a lot in these type of builds. When I'm doing really any sort of outdoor living space. I mean, it's the only kit we have for outdoor living space. And I know we do have some outdoor furniture that came with the game and some of the other expansion packs, but this is devoted to outdoor. And they did a really good job with it. Other than not having some kitchen counters, this kit is wonderful. I love the curtains in it also, and I use those in a lot of builds. Inside, not outside. But I really, really do love this kit. And the colors were perfect here, because I'm really going with this light beige and this stony look, all of these earth tones, but this pinky kind of rose gold sun-kissed look, and the colors of that kit, that's exactly what they are. So here you see me struggling to find some counters that match. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to a nice home that has an outdoor kitchen, but you don't just have a grill and a bar and nothing else. They do have some countertops. Sometimes, you know, it's built in and it's some sort of natural stone or granite or made out of brick, but we don't have anything like that in The Sims. So really the only thing that we can do is use a countertop. And if they're going to cook, they really need a counter, right? Sims have to have that. So I needed to match. Nothing matches. At least that's kind of a beige color. I tried them all, trust me. Every countertop, every cabinet in the game, anything that's white or beige or tan or brown, I tried them all. I tried every combination. I kept changing the colors of the grill, of the bar. Like, something has to match. But no, it's The Sims. It's The Sims, right? It doesn't have to match. But I feel like a family this wealthy, they would want it to match. And there I'm trying to go with brown, but getting really frustrated. And why does that bar sit away, grill, sit away from the wall so much? Like, that's standard slotting position. You have to alt place it. Otherwise, it's way far away from the wall. I didn't understand that. It just looked kind of funny to me. I mean, the cabinets were touching the wall. Why couldn't the grill? I don't know. Now, they need a range hood. Again, I don't know if you've seen an outdoor kitchen, but when you have a big, huge grill in a semi-enclosed space like that, you've got to have a range hood. They definitely need a television. And why you can't set a television on top of that bookshelf, I really don't understand. So I used that 9 button to raise it up. Now that's one thing that kit has. Gorgeous bar stools. Okay, I'm almost finished here and I'm back to working on the roof. The picture, they have more of a hip roof over here, but I put that more modern looking slant and then tried to curve it down. So it doesn't really look like the picture, but without a second floor there, I just was really at a loss of what to do with the roof. I might play with that a little bit more when I go back to add the nectar making stuff, but in the meantime, here's my Chateau peek. If you're interested, you can download it from the gallery or CurseForge. Thanks for hanging out with me and watching my build. And I'll see you again after we get horses. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that thumbs up and subscribe. And don't forget to check out my other videos. And all of my mods for Sims 4 are available on CurseForge. I'll see you next time.